Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Ilse Zamarripa and this is the Worldspace. Today I'm going to be talking to you about one of the most difficult things in animation, which is when a character is moving and then it has to stop or stay still and not look dead or floaty or awkward. Today I will give you 5 tips to master those moving holds. If you're an animator, you always need to be in the lookout for what people are doing all the time. You need to see how people behave and how bodies react to everything that surrounds them, even gravity. Tip number 1, balance. Let's take into account that our bodies are constantly trying to find balance. No one is completely still. You realize that even when people are sitting down, in the movie theater for example, you're always adjusting. And it becomes even more evident when people are standing up, how their weight shifts and then their COG, their center of gravity, which is the hips, tries to stabilize their weight. So when you translate that into a character, it looks way more alive. It looks like it has weight. In reality, people are not still. They're always finding balance. Tip number 2, hands moving. Something that makes our animation look weird in general is that in reality, hands need to be moving all the time. I learned that by acting. There are some actors that act like this. They leave their hands on the side of their bodies when they're speaking, and that looks really weird because we don't do that. That's not very comfortable. On a side note, people feel more secure psychologically if they see your hands, because that means you don't have anything to hurt them. There's no threat. So your mind is more relaxed when you see me moving my hands. But there is also the complete opposite, where people act every single word they say with their hands. That looks weird. Don't do it. That's like pantomime. So that is not very useful either, because it looks funky. Nobody really speaks like that. What I want to teach you in this point is that when you think you're not doing anything, you're actually doing something. In your next conversation with people, where you're sitting down with friends, for example, take a look around at the people who are silent. And a lot of them will be doing things with their hands, you know, looking at their fingernails or just moving their bodies or just moving their hands, rubbing their hair, touching their face, scratching the table, or their foot or their leg will be shaking. So in general, it's very helpful to not have a character that just doesn't move at all. Those little details add a lot of life and texture to your animation. Feel free to explore and think of personality traits and psychology behind your character. If your character is anxious, maybe they can be like touching their hair like quickly or moving their fingers quickly. Or if they're insecure, they're probably gonna have their hands closer to their bodies. Maybe their shoulders are gonna be a little bit pushed up. Think of reasons behind it, and that will even give people a new perspective of your character. That's pretty cool. A good animator and a great actor will always be in the lookout for those little details that give you more of a hint of what the character is thinking. How is he feeling? Is he feeling awkward? Is he feeling happy? Is he feeling confident? It's very important to look at it holistically and think about why is somebody doing that. Go into the psyche of your character and think, is he comfortable? Is she talking to someone she likes? What is going on inside their minds for them to do that specific action? You add a level of complexity if you think, what is going on inside their minds to make them do that action without them even realizing? That's complex, and that is pure psychology, and that's very interesting if you are either an actor or an animator. That's very useful. Third tip, the balancing of the limbs. Our body is like a pendulum. So if your body moves sideways, your arms are gonna move afterwards. So you have to move them accordingly, but do it in a very subtle way. It adds up to the weight of your character and it takes away a lot of stiffness. What I would suggest is that you add an animation layer on top and you move the arms accordingly doing this. So for example, if the body moves, you get the arm going like that. You don't really need to see it a lot. It's just something that you feel, so make it very, very slightly. You can reduce the amount of influence of the layer so it's not super evident. So feel free to try this as long as it feels natural. Fourth tip, blood pumping up. That is a shocker. But if you study someone in extreme detail, you'd realize that their body is doing this. That is insane, and that's because our heart pumps blood so hard that all of our bodies kind of doing this all the time. Obviously, it's not something that you can see. People are never still 100%. Only when you're doing stylized animation, cartoon animation, you can have characters where you don't animate any part of the body, like 0 keys. That's the case, for example, in Hotel Transylvania. They hit a very nice, strong silhouette and pose, and they can stay there without moving. Maybe just move their eyes or something, and that's a statement. And it works because it's an animation style. All the characters are kind of in the same style, so it feels natural within the context. But the more realistic you want your animation to look, you want to add all these small textures, micro, very, very small details. No one should see them. They should feel them. And the more realistic you want your animation to be, you also have to dirty up some movements. If your character is sitting still, sometimes our heads just weirdly pop to the sides, very, very slightly. Or if I was silent, sometimes you do like a little like little adjustments, so take that into account. And last tip number 5, breathing. I know this is very obvious, but what I like to do is I make a cycle in a layer where you get the movement starting from the chest. So then goes to the shoulders and then to the head. And then I offset the head a little and the shoulders too. So I get something like this. Then I reduce the weight of that layer a lot so you don't really see it. It's just like you feel how it's breathing a little. That is me breathing naturally. And then when you have that going on in a cycle, you have to listen to your audio, if you have any, what the line of your character is, if they're speaking, and you have to hit the times the person who's doing the voice acting is breathing in. So, I don't think so. I don't think so. You have to really respect the moment where they're breathing in. So obviously, if I'm gonna be speaking to you and I wanna speak out, I do this. Speak out. Speak out. You cannot speak like very loudly without breathing. So take into account all those little moments where you breathe and they say something, and then spread out, intensify, decrease that breathing according to the things your character is saying. And even breathing can be a statement. It can be like, I am tired, I'm done, I'm sad. And it adds a lot of movement. So when your character is completely still, at least you'll have the chest compressing and expanding. If you apply these 5 tips, your animation will look so much better and your moving holds will look more natural. And not only that, you will add weight, you will add personality, and you will add texture to your animation. If you like these tips, please don't hesitate to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, hit the notification bell. We are already more than 3,000 followers, so thank you so much for your support. You guys are amazing. If you like this video and you want me to keep making videos like this one, please put down in the comments what you learned, what you already knew, and what you would like me to talk about in the next video. You know, I answer every single one of your comments, so please keep leaving them. I love them. Oh, and don't forget, Trikingo is a site where you can download many different tools and tutorials. If you are an animator, if you want to learn scripting, if you want to even learn how to make your own video game, it doesn't matter if you're highly experienced or you're new to the industry. There is content for all kinds of CG artists. You can see these tools being used over and over again in the pipelines of the most important studios around the world. My subscribers and I get a 20% discount in any purchase. There's even free stuff to play around with. I will leave you guys a link in the description down below. Make sure to check it out and keep making art, you beautiful artist. Ciao.